What have I been listening to? What have I been watching? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the second ever episode of Analog Addict, the show where I grab a handful of items from my VHS collection and my vinyl collection, things that I have recently been enjoying and feel like talking about. I grab them, I bring them here, and I talk about them to all of you, and hopefully you get some kind of enjoyment out of this. 3 records, 3 VHS tapes, let's go. First off, we have a couple of pretty cool reissues to talk about on the vinyl side of things. First up, it is the 2025 35th anniversary reissue of Apple from Mother Love Bone. This album was originally released in 1990, and I don't think there's been a proper vinyl reissue of it since then. I think this might be the first one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't have it before, and now I do, and I'm very stoked to have this one. And in my opinion, they got this reissue right for what I want out of a reissue. Usually with albums like this, where they're hard to come by because they were only pressed way back in the day. So if you don't still have the one that you bought from 1990, then you're forking over a pretty penny for somebody's used copy. And sometimes that's just way out of our price ranges, right? Especially these days. And so when it's something like that I don't have in my collection and I very much would like an original copy, but I can't get one, the kind of reissue that I want would be as faithful to the original pressing as possible. And in this particular case, they pretty much nailed that because the album sleeve itself, front and back, looks like the 1990 pressing of this particular album. And for those of you who happen to know this album pretty well, if you look at the track listing on the back, you will see that there are songs missing from the vinyl version, just like they were missing from the original 1990 version. Now, this might annoy some people, but this is the kind of shit that makes me happy because it's a faithful reissue of the original vinyl version of this. There's a Pantera reissue for Great Southern Trendkill that's also done the same way, where the track listing is exactly the same as the original vinyl pressing, which leaves out, I think, 2 tracks. And sure, it's sad to miss these tracks, but for some reason, whatever weird shit makes up my brain and makes it happy, it works for me. I don't know. I'm just weird that way. And then as for the record itself, pressing sounds great. I have no problems with it. I don't have an original to compare it to, but it sounds great to me. And it's this nice orange vinyl here. On the hype sticker, it says habanero, whatever. It looks nice to me. Good quality vinyl. No complaints about this repressing at all. So kudos to Mercury Records. I think originally this was on Polydor Records. So congrats to Mercury Records for getting it right. And just in case there are some of you out there that are like, oh, wait, the original was on black vinyl, that's on colored vinyl, I would like to remind everybody out there that black vinyl is colored vinyl. So no, I don't care about that. Different colors, I don't fucking care. Give me the weirdest color you got. Anyway, so if any of you were on the fence about getting this vinyl reissue, let me nudge you in the direction of getting it. It's a great album. If you don't know this album very well, it's a really great example of that sort of strange middle ground between the 80s hard rock and the 90s alternative and grunge. These guys were like right in the middle of that. And obviously, Andrew Wood, if he hadn't passed away, who knows if Pearl Jam would have ever existed? Probably not. But maybe Mother Love Bone would have ended up being more like Pearl Jam. Who knows? Unfortunately, we're never going to find out, but things happened however they happened, and we lost Andrew Wood. If for those of you who don't know, he died, I think, days before this album came out, and then the band was no more. Anyway, so Mother Love Bone, Apple reissue, very nice. And I have another reissue here to talk about, which has been a long time coming because I pre-ordered this reissue. This is another one of those albums, and this is an album from the 90s that was never pressed on vinyl. And I love this album so much. So when I saw that the band themselves were overseeing doing this vinyl reissue, I was totally on board. It's taken a little while. I feel like it's been 6 months, maybe even more, since I pre-ordered this. There was a lot of issues, but this is not like major label bullshit. This is literally these guys. It's a labor of love. They had to figure out who was going to help them put it out, where they were going to press it. I don't know what all went into putting this together, but I know, the band was fully involved. Honestly, I appreciate all of their hard work. because it fucking paid off, because now we get this fantastic vinyl pressing of the one and only album from Damn the Machine. This originally came out in 1993, and it's an incredible proggy metal album, and it's proggy. I wouldn't call it, yeah, it's got prog elements, but it's also very catchy and very melodic, and it's just a really fucking good album. If you don't know this band, it was started by, well, several gentlemen, but one of them being Mr. Chris Poland, who prior to this was one of the many guitar players in Megadeth, an amazing guitar player. And all of these guys, amazing musicians, and this album, I can't stress enough how fucking good this album is. It's one of those lesser known. They had a video that they played a couple times on Headbangers Ball, but then after that, I never heard anybody talking about this album. It would come up here and there, and we'd point at each other like freaks and be like, "Oh, you're one of them too." Yeah. Anyway, this is out. You can go to Damn the Machine through their Instagram or through their Facebook, and I don't know if they have any more. I don't know if they pressed these to who pre-ordered them or if there's some left over. I don't know. Go check it out and find out, because this pressing is fucking fantastic. We'll talk about the record in a second, but there's inside of it, first off, you get a Damn the Machine sticker, very nice, and then you get this insert, which has like a poster flat of the album cover on one side and then a photo of the dudes on the other, and then you get this sort of fold out. It seems like it'd be a poster, but it's not. It's the lyrics and credits and more of that fantastic artwork there. And then the record itself, I believe they did 2 or 3 different colors, but I picked this blue as the color that I wanted, and it's a very nice pressing. Sounds very good. There's no vinyl pressing to compare it to, but I do know from reading the credits that it was mastered for vinyl, which is something that I think some people probably don't know, is that when an album, especially back in the day when it was put out on, let's say, CD and vinyl, there would actually be 2 different masters, one for the CD version and one for the vinyl version. And I'm not smart enough to explain to you why. There's different frequencies and there's different sound things and the way that things come out of your speakers from the medium that you're playing. And so you need to have different masterings of them. And so they took whatever source files they used for this and mastered it for vinyl. Either way, however they did it, it sounds fantastic. It's a fantastic album. Go search it out. And if you don't want to get it on vinyl, just go find it somewhere on the internet and listen to it, because it's fantastic. Anyway, Damn the Machine reissue. Clearly, I'm excited about this one. Okay, last but not least, for the vinyl side of things, my local record store that I like to frequent is called Cactus Music here in Houston, Texas. And it's been here since like the 70s, I believe. And it's fucking great. It's one of those great stores that you go into and there's a lot of new records, there's a lot of used records, but then there's a lot of also just random shit around just to look at. You could spend all day in that place. So if you're ever in Houston, check out Cactus Records. And I recently ran across this at my local record store. This is a Nirvana live bootleg. Now, some of you out there know that I am a massive Nirvana fan, and honestly, at this point, now that they've put out the Bleach, Nevermind, and In Utero anniversary editions with live concerts attached to them, I'm like, okay, cool. There are other live recordings that are out there that weren't professionally released, on one of these box sets. And so now I'm on the hunt for those other recordings. Whatever recordings I don't have on vinyl, I want all of them. And this is Live at the Hollywood Palladium 1990, and it comes from an FM broadcast. Actually sounds pretty damn good. And there's the back cover. It's got some live photos and a set list. But knowing these bootleg reissues, those probably aren't from this exact show. Although the set list does match what is on this record here. And on the cover, if you look, the picture of the band, that's Chad Channing right there, but he actually isn't the drummer at this point. This is 1990, and this is right in between where they were kind of transitioning between drummers. And so Dale Crover from the Melvins is the drummer on this particular show, which is also very fucking cool because that dude's a monster. But anyway, this is really great because this is like right in between Bleach and Nevermind. And you've got an early version of Breed under the name Imodium and an early version of In Bloom on here as well. And it's just great. If you're a Nirvana fan, I don't really need to say much more to you, but I love this kind of shit. And the pressing's real basic. Some of these bootlegs have been getting a little fancier with their colored vinyl and whatnot, but I don't need that for these. You know, black is fine with me. Like I said, black is colored. They had to add a color to make it black. So anyway, another Nirvana live bootleg, a very good sounding one to add to my collection of Nirvana vinyl. And there's still a handful of things out there that I know for sure that I still need to find, or somebody needs to press a bootleg version for me to collect. So those of you who are doing this, like this particular one is put out by Mind Control. I think I have other live bootlegs from Mind Control as well. So kudos, Mind Control, for putting this one out. All right, so that wraps up the records that I would like to talk about. Let's move on to the VHSs. All right, so piggybacking off of that Nirvana live bootleg vinyl, we're going to be talking about this. I guess it's a documentary on VHS, The Year Punk Broke, 1991, The Year Punk Broke, which is a video put out by the band Sonic Youth. And if you did not already know, this is a documentary, well, and a lot of live performances too, from a European tour that Sonic Youth did with Nirvana right before Nevermind came out. As far as I know, Nevermind would have already been recorded at this point. Dave Grohl was already in the band. And they play, songs from Nevermind in this, among other songs. It's a lot of Sonic Youth and then a few other bands as well. Dinosaur Jr., Babes in Toyland. There's a little sneaky next to the stage recording of the Ramones later on. And overall, it's a fun documentary. My one gripe about this documentary is not about the actual movie itself. The director that put it together, Dave Markey, great job. A lot of great performances, iconic live performances from Nirvana. The thing that bothers me about this is fucking Thurston Moore. That dude is unbearably infuriating. If you've seen this before, you know what I'm talking about. I just want that guy to stop talking because he literally is. Maybe as he's gotten older now, maybe he's stopped doing this, but literally every time he's on camera, he's just spurting nonsense for the sake of spurting nonsense to be like, I'm this weird guy. I take some drugs and stuff. And oh my God, it gets old real quick. But the performances on here, fucking amazing. And let's take a look. Let's slowly look at the tape. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I guess the label's like that on that one. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm sure it's online somewhere. The Year Punk Broke. So that one was released in 1992. And this next one I'm talking about was also released in 1992. And I fucking love Primus. Primus sucks, right? That's how you know that I love Primus. But this is Cheesy Home Video, which is a pretty short home video that Primus put out the same time they put out the EP Miscellaneous Debris, which is, a few cover songs, but in 92. And this has all of the music videos they had done up to that point. It's kind of an interview-ish kind of thing with the guys on a fishing boat, and then some random live performances. Unfortunately, none of them, if I remember right, are complete live performances, which is kind of a bummer, but it's still a lot of cool stuff and a lot of fun on this particular VHS. But the number one thing when I was watching this that made me, I'm already nostalgic for the early 90s, but watching something like this and just remembering a time when a band like this was on a major label and were important enough to put out a VHS about this band, this fucking weird ass band. Comparatively speaking, I know for some of us that listen to a lot of weird music, this isn't that weird, but for your average music listener, this is fucking weird shit. And it was embraced by so many people. It was a beautiful time and I miss it. Anyway, let's take a look at this one. This one comes like this, and what side is the label on? Does the label go like this, or does it go like this? Well, how does it go? It's like this. Anyway, there you go. Primus. Cheesy Home Video. God damn, I missed the 90s. Early 90s, to be exact. But for my last VHS tape that I'll be talking about, we're going to skip back a few years into the late 80s, 1988. And this comes from, like I said last time, one of me and my wife's, is that correct English? Who cares? Our Blockbuster nights that we do, where I have a whole bunch. Look how my collection's coming together. I got some real great fucking shit in there. Anyway, that's for another episode. But we do these things. Blockbuster night. I roll my TV cart with my old school TV and VCR into the living room. My wife comes in and picks out what movie she wants to watch. Or in this case, she picked out a few different ones and then had me narrow it down. And I narrowed it down to this one right here, Red Heat, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi, or James Belushi, whatever he was going by at the time. But the reason I chose this one is because I didn't remember this movie. Like, I mean, I know it existed. Like, looking at the cover, I go, oh yeah, Red Heat, yeah. But I couldn't remember anything about it except for the fact that Arnold is from the Soviet Union and Jim Belushi is from America. That's it. Look at the pictures in the back here. Man, I love a good 80s VHS release. Just, I don't know. I've said it before. I can just hold it and look at it. I fucking love it. Anyway, so as I was watching the movie, I realized that the things that I remember from it, I'm pretty sure are just from the trailers, because most of the movie, I did not know what was going to be happening. So I think I maybe have never seen this movie or just completely forgot it, because honestly, it's not great. The story is kind of weak, and I read into the making of this, and apparently the director, Walter Hill, who also wrote this, apparently did a lot of making it up as they went along, which is insane for like a major studio release. Oh yeah, let's take a look at the tape here real quick. That is a pretty boring label right there, but you know, whatever. But yeah, you know, there's like drug dealers in the Soviet Union in 1988, and one of them kills Arnold's partner and then flees to America. So they send Arnold to America, and then the American cops have the Soviet guy in custody. And so Arnold comes there, but then the Soviet guy escapes custody, and then he's partnered up with Jim Belushi, even though they do not like each other at all. And then they got to figure out how to find this guy. And that's literally the whole movie. And my one takeaway from this, first off, any Arnold movie is very entertaining to me. But the thing that makes this movie not so great is fucking Jim Belushi. I'm sure they exist, but it's a really strange example of a character that you know was created to be like a likable, funny guy, but he's a complete douchebag. There's no redeeming quality to Jim Belushi's character in this movie. He is just aggravating and annoying from the moment he's on camera. It's just like, and it's weird. And I guess that it works into it, but it's just so weird that like in 1988, they created this movie where it's like, ooh, there's a Soviet Union guy, and then there's the American guy. And who's the guy that you hate? Fucking American guy. Anyway, not an awful movie, just comparatively speaking, when it comes to Arnold Schwarzenegger's 80s output, this is lower on my list, but you know, still entertaining. So, but now I know. I've seen it. I remember it. I have an opinion on it. So, yay, Red Heat. All right, so that is it for the second ever edition of Analog Addict. Thank you for watching. Put some comments down below. What did you think? I'll be back again in who knows how long with some more records and some more VHS tapes that I have currently been enjoying. If you want to get the full experience of what is Oldhead watching and listening to, go follow me over on Instagram at oldhead.tx or on Facebook. I'm still on there, unfortunately, but there's a lot of cool people on there. There's also a lot of real shitty people on there too. But I think it's just Old Head. It might be Old Head TX on Facebook as well. Either way, on those social media platforms, I post images of all the things that I'm listening to and watching because I have no friends. I have you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon.